Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
As Jessica said in the chat room, let's go. It's Wager Talk Today, everybody. I'm Lawrence Presman. That handsome old man is Teddy Covers, and we got a jam-packed show today. John Ryan, right off the bat, he's going to look at college hoops. No, college football, my bad. 2 games, I got to bring them up. I was ill-prepared. Purdue and Ohio State, Penn State and Michigan, and Ralph Michaels coming up. Got charts galore. He's looking at 2 games, college hoops, Nevada, Eastern Michigan, Kansas, Michigan State, and Dave Sharapan. Teddy, can you believe we are now in the thick of things? Everything is going on all at once. But my question to you is, what did we learn last night?
Well, and we do have a jam-packed show for today. Obviously, the opening day of college hoops. We got Maction for tonight in my big game breakdown. We'll talk a little Buffalo, Miami, and of course, NBA, NFL, college football. It is a busy time of year. When we talk about what did bettors learn last night, look, this is my 24th football season in Las Vegas, and 2 things come up again and again. One, every year, the worst team in the NFL versus the best team in college, like, oh, Georgia will beat the Jaguars. Georgia will beat the Jets. And no, they won't. The other thing that comes up every year is, oh, the fix is in. We talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday. And then I got a tweet last night. Barstool tweeted out a phantom penalty when a Chicago player barely touched a ref, which it was. I got a tweet from Razor Sharp Sports saying, quote, still think this shit ain't rigged somehow, and I'm a Steelers fan. Again, 2 things have to be very clear to ensure that it's not human error, that there's a fix and not human error. There's a whole lot of human error in this world and a whole lot of human error in sports. And I understand people want conspiracies, but what we see is human error. Okay, first, you want to tell me that it's not human error, there's a fix. Number 1, you got to tell me before kickoff. All right, the fix is in, it's on this team. So we can all make money betting that game. The second thing you got to do when you tell me before kickoff is, well, the team that the calls are supposedly rigged for, in this case, in favor of Pittsburgh, they actually have to cover the spread, which they didn't. So, yeah, it was a bad play. It was a bad call. Rigged, fixed. I'm not buying it, not even a little bit. And I know this. I know sports betting, win or lose, I know the industry fairly well. I'm not buying there's anything resembling, quote unquote, match fixing in the NFL, in the NBA, or any of these sports that we're talking about. Prez, what did you learn?
Yeah, I mean, Teddy, just on that note, and then I want to drop this whole fixing topic for at least a year. Ultimately, if the books are extremely heavy on a play out of the blue, we know about it. And that is really the biggest telltale sign of whether there's a fix or not. There was no anomalistic betting done last night. No insane sums of money came in on Pittsburgh on the money line, and that's what, caused all those penalties. That's what did that ridiculous taunting call. I'm with you, dude. These guys, I mean, if you go look through the comments yesterday about our show, it was just incessant. Of course, Dallas loses, Buffalo loses, so there's a fix. Guys, it's just not happening, man. Like, I get that you people are smarter than us. It's not happening.
If the fix is in, make money off it. Ain't nobody telling me how much money they're making off these fixes being in. All right. All they're telling me is how much money they lost because the fix is in. If the fix is in and you know it, you should make a fortune. So knock yourself out. Let me know before kickoff, though, please.
Yeah, please tweet us both. Let's get the show on the road, man. John Ryan joining us. It's $2 Tuesday over at both Sports Memo and Wager Talk. John Ryan, the $2 Tuesday with us today. And John, you've got a college basketball opening night best bet. You were 63% in best bets last year in college hoops, over 57% in all your plays. Your opening night best bet, only $2 over at Sports Memo. Welcome to the show, my friend. And who told you to dress up? Nobody dresses
nobody.
up.
I just feel like I'm smarter. I'm smarter than if I came on the show in pajamas. It makes me smarter.
Well, you know what?
By the way, the fix.
Yep.
I heard what you said about the fix. I think people realize, if they put it in this kind of analogy, that when you feel like you're the fire hydrant is when you feel like the fix is in, and when you feel like a genius is when you're the dog. And that's how I look at the fix.
Yeah. Well,
Simple.
We're going to not discuss the fix any longer. Dude, Purdue plus 20 against Ohio State. Who's winning this game by 20 or less or more?
Well, I'm going to stop being in denial about Purdue. I've kind of faded them after a big win, and it didn't work so well. But Ohio State, I do think, and I've said it since the end of last year, their secondary is vulnerable, and they're vulnerable to crossing routes, and we see it time and time again. Nebraska, I had them as a premium pick last week, and they covered. But Ohio State struggled mightily against that defense. Purdue is a type of team now that has to have big-time confidence, at least a lot more than they did when they started the season. And I think this is just way too many points. And I think that Purdue, you may know this already, guys, there's been 99 dogs of 17.5 or more points that have won the game outright since 2016.
Wow.
This year, yeah. And I mention that because we're so accustomed to the NFL where double-digit dogs, just don't win all that often. It's very rare. Except for the last week. But we have 18 this season already. The biggest amount was 2019, where there was 24. And I run these models, as you guys know. I never know when a double-digit dog is going to win outright. But I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be in position with Texas A&M over Alabama, which at the time, like if I said sprinkle the money line, people were thinking, well, that's not going to happen. The point is, you just don't know when it's going to happen. And just like this game, you just don't know what is going to happen. But I do think that I would not be surprised if Purdue really puts it to Ohio State and this game comes down to the final minutes of the game.
So I had Purdue following an upset win over a top 5 team, and they played Wisconsin. And Wisconsin blew them off the ball, blew them off the line of scrimmage. Purdue was never in the game, was a wrong side loser. Ohio State has that same potential. All right, certainly at the line of scrimmage, the Buckeyes as strong as the Badgers, wouldn't you think? And that is clearly not Purdue's strength. Even though that Boilermakers defense has overachieved and really impressed the heck out of me when they play the bigger, more physical offensive lines, that's where Purdue's defense likely to struggle. Does that concern you in this matchup? Because if Purdue's not...
I think we had some technical difficulties there. Do we have John Ryan with us still?
All right, well,
just
I'm on
us
camera,
two.
So I got to talk.
Yeah.
We're
no
working
one
out
wants
some
to look
technical
at your
difficulties.
face.
What's that, Lawrence?
Just go, Teddy.
Well, I'm going. But we're ad-libbing here. We're talking to John Ryan about the Purdue-Ohio State game, working on getting John back in the fold for us. We don't have him just yet. So, Prez, do you have any thoughts about Purdue-Ohio State?
None whatsoever, Teddy. I like Ohio State on the money line at minus 17 million. I haven't even looked. Dude, now that college hoops is underway, I like college football is going to wait till tomorrow afternoon before I start taking apart the card. And my God, there's too many games to take apart now, dude. How's anybody going to sleep in the next couple of months? Talk about that, Teddy. How do you organize your days?
At this time of year, there's no organization. It's just you're as soon as you finish your work on one sport, you go outside, you have a cigarette, you start working on the next sport. That's just how it is for November. The one adjustment I've made in my life is I don't even pick up college hoops till after Thanksgiving weekend. And to me, that allows me to function in November, because there were years where I was trying to do college hoops. And what happens is you put too much time into everything and you end up losing everything. So not that I've had a great week. I've had a really crappy couple of days over the last couple of days. But the concept is the college hoops will get there. But for me, at least, I wait until after the meat of the college football season is done. And that to me is after Thanksgiving. And plus, I love betting. My start to college football, college basketball is always betting against the overreactions. Those teams that look great over Thanksgiving weekend. That's how I start college basketball, is I bet against those teams who look great over Thanksgiving weekend when they return home the next week. John Ryan back with us. John, we were talking Purdue and Ohio State. We're talking about the matchup in the trenches and my concerns about Purdue's ability to bang with Ohio State up front.
Okay, I guess when I froze, I was doing the angle that supports Purdue and offsets my concern that I share with you. So you're going to bet on underdogs of 10.5 to 21 points. That's off an upset win of 10 or more points as a home underdog. Winning record on the season, playing a conference foe that also has a winning record that's 80% over the last 25 seasons. It's 10-2 against the number of the last 10. It's a very rare situation, but a very powerful one in my opinion. And that's one of the reasons I think that Purdue has a shot here to take them to the wire.
John Ryan joining us, everyone. $2 Tuesday handicapper at Sports Memo, over 57% last year in college hoops, over 63% in his 4% best bets, and he's got one up tonight. It's only $2 over at Memo, sportsmemo.com. John, Penn State against Michigan, a massive game, more so for Michigan. They have a clear path. They just got to keep winning. It's now down to a pick. It was won yesterday. How are you handicapping this game?
I've been on Penn State pretty many times this year, and I've been on Penn State when this matchup occurs in Happy Valley. I don't know if you guys have ever had the privilege of going to a venue like that, but there's going to be 111,000 fans. This game is at high noon, so it's not a whiteout like it was in the 2017 season when Harbaugh was in the same situation in Penn State with Saquon Barkley blew him out. And it's a very difficult venue to play in. And I see Penn State winning this game by double digits. Now I'll go out on a limb and look foolish if it doesn't happen. But I do think that there's a lot supporting Penn State here. One of them is bulletin board material where they weren't included in the first round of the college football playoff. Now, the three of us know that the polls right now mean nothing because Alabama and Georgia going 1-2 is not how it's going to end up because they'll probably play each other in the SEC championship. Maybe they'll end up number 1, number 4. And there's 4 teams as of last week that were in the top 10 in the East Division of the Big Ten. So what we're seeing in that division is a round robin, of which this is one of those games. Michigan still has to play Ohio State that Jim Harbaugh has never defeated. I think he's 0-8, 0-9. So there's a lot to be said here. And it's a remote possibility that Penn State with 3 losses could be the Big Ten champion. But whoever wins the East is going to win the Big Ten, even though Wisconsin looks a lot better. There's just too many. All 4 of these teams look better to me than anybody else in the West Division. And playing at home, yes, the offense has sputtered recently, but in a marquee game like this, I see Sean Clifford and especially Dotson. I think Dotson will be a top 10 pick in the draft. Tremendous speed, 9 touchdowns on the season. That's a weapon. And play action, to me, in my analysis with the eye test this year, that's what gets Michigan's defense. They get overly aggressive. They're not stellar in gap discipline. And I think James Franklin and that offense are going to be able to exploit that over aggression by the Michigan defense and create big plays.
So I've watched these teams a bunch this year, and I'm convinced Michigan's the better of these two teams. The betting markets are telling us Michigan's the better of these two teams, being that it's a pick-em. I'm seeing some of the leading indicator books showing Michigan -1 on the road. The problem with the Wolverines is not talent. I think they have more talent than Penn State. The problem has been execution and their ability to step up in class on the highway. Is your assessment of this game more about Michigan's failures in this type of role, or do you think that Penn State is legitimately the more talented team?
I think they're pretty evenly matched with the situation. I'll tell you what my I call my predictive models are saying that, and the line is telling you this. It's 48.5, so that's basically like a 25 to 25 game roughly. It's going to be very, very close based on that line. So in games where Penn State scores more than 27 points, and my model has a high probability of this occurring. And in a game against a conference foe, scoring 27 or more, they're 25-13 straight up, Penn State is, but 31-7 against the number for 82% winners. And by the way, the over is 26-10-2 for 77% winners in these games. Now, under James Franklin, it gets even better. He is 18-0 straight up, 14-4 against the number when scoring 27 or more points, and the betting lines within 3.5 points on either side of pick. That's what sells me there, and I have to go with that trend of 18-0. And I'm half tempted. I know this is probably like borderline cursing, but those reverse action parlays, I haven't done one of those in about a year or 2 or 3. But if I was going to do one, I really like this game, and I like the teaser even. And I hate the word teaser.
Yeah.
But to me, in my opinion, it's logical.
John Ryan, everyone. John, we got to let you go. We've got a jam-packed show. Plus, we had some technical difficulties in the middle of it all. Guys, take advantage of $2 Tuesday over at Sports Memo. John Ryan, college hoops. One best bet for you all. Teddy, get your chops ready. Big game breakdown coming. Ralph Michaels, Dave Sharapan, daily presidential address. I feel like the show has just begun.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk Text Club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
Time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some Tuesday night action. Buffalo at Miami, Ohio. This game going tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern time on ESPNU. Looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, I'm seeing Miami mostly -7.5s out there. Total in the 57 range. And we saw nothing but overs. Well, there was one under last week. It stayed under by less than a field goal. But these midweek MAC games, I have no hesitation expecting high-scoring affairs. And there's ample reason to expect a high-scoring affair in this one. Look, Buffalo, last game, 56-44 against Bowling Green. Now, admittedly, the defense was gashed, and they were gassed. They hadn't had a bye week. Now they're coming off a bye, so the defense may well be a little bit better today. But then again, they just gave up 56 to Bowling Green. Gave up touchdowns of 81, 64, 77, and 47 yards. Lots of big plays and unable to stop the run, which is a problem. And we saw last week the Miami offense started slow. Once that offense starts rolling, they scored 33 of the game's last 40 points, 3 touchdowns in the final 5.5 minutes. They're certainly capable of putting up points in bunches with Gabbard at QB. for Buffalo. They want to run the football. At the same time, QB Van Treese, who was banged up in the last game, it does look like he's going to be able to go here, but Van Treese lit up this defense the last time they played. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again here. So we have big playability on both sides. We have some defensive vulnerability on both sides. We have two balanced offenses and two quarterbacks we want our money on. And we have a very reasonable total in the 57 range. Yeah, nothing but overs last week in action. No surprise here if this one turns out to be a high-scoring game as well. Look for Buffalo and Miami O to get up and over the total. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you.
Outstanding stuff, Teddy. Let's bring Ralph Michaels in. And Ralph, your favorite day of the year, brother, college basketball is upon us. We're going to talk 2 college basketball plays with you today. And you got some charts for us. I'm just going to shut up and hand the mic over to you.
You know, I've been remiss with the added college football and NFL logs I've been doing. The college basketball guide got put out. I am actually cutting and pasting and putting and PDFing pages while you guys are talking. If the guys in the back can throw up one page, I just want to show you what the guide will be. It'll be up in about 2 hours. That's the returning starters. Did you guys see that last send over I sent? They're going to put it up, and it breaks down the conference. Last year's Ken Palm ratings, last year's stats, diffs and points per game. It has the returning starters for this year. It has Ken Palm numbers for this year. And to me, a huge part of it is the coaching. You see the red is first-year head coaches. It shows you how long the coaches have been there. So at one glance, it'll pretty much at least give you your first step to handicapping games. So that'll be up in a couple hours on my homepage at WagerTalk, a free download like everything is at WagerTalk. Amazing company to put out all this free content. Check that out. I do want to talk about, guys, head coaches. Teddy and Prez, college basketball. There are, I want to talk about teams with 5 returning starters and teams with 0 or 1 returning starters. First, teams with 5 returning starters. This year, I will put this list on Twitter. It is in the guide as well. There are 42 teams with 5 returning starters this year. All of those teams have coaches that are back for at least a second season. Now we're looking at head coaches with 0 or 1 returning starters. Take a look at all those new head coaches in the red. It's no coincidence, guys. If you have 5 returning starters, your coach is pretty smart. I'm going to stick around one more season. Look how many of those coaches were jettisoned with no returning starters. One last note about returning starters this year. It's a very unimportant stat for a group of 5 teams. You have teams like Oregon and Baylor that have only 1 or 2 returning starters. The transfer portal has changed and made returning starters much less relevant for Power 5 teams, but they are still very important for smaller conference teams. If you're a team like Arkansas Pine Bluff with only 1 returning starter, a brand new head coach, and you're listed as the number 356 out of 358 teams from Ken Palm, you know that's a team that's going to strugel.
So,
Ralph Michaels.
Ralph,
Sorry, Teddy.
the point spread is always a great equalizer when it comes to any sport. And that's how the betting markets obviously differ between the team with 5 starters and the returning coach, but the Arkansas Pine Bluffs that are ranked 356 out of 358 and bring nobody back and a new coach. When it comes to a betting strategy, do you want to be betting on these 5 starter teams? Do you want to play them, a 5 returning starter? Do you want to bet on them when they play the 0 starter teams out of the group of 5? How do we use this information? Because it's certainly key information. How do we use it to make money?
Well, obviously, you're putting it in where your power ratings are, where the value is. Vegas's numbers for college basketball are basically off Ken Palm. And all these returning starters aren't put into play. It's a reaction from where they were last year. And there's some teams with massive fallouts. Eastern Washington is a team that comes to mind. Went to the tournament last year, returns one or basically zero returning starters. And that's a game that, I'm going to talk about right now when we have the Wolfpack and Eastern Washington. And it's a situation where if I can get a 5-return team against a team with a new head coach that returns 0 or 1 starters, and I'm in the price range of 20 like I am in the Wolfpack game tonight, it's a team I'm going to play. This Nevada team, not only 5 returning starters, you have the Mountain West preseason player of the year in Cambridge. Eastern Washington not only lost 4 returning starters, they have 8 true freshmen that are back. And they're both of their top, all of their top 3 guards are gone. So point guards are important. 0 and 1 returning guys are important, especially when you're playing your second or third straight road game. And remember this, these teams with 0 or 1 returning starters and have new point guards, we are now playing in front of fans for the first time. Reno will be sold out tonight. Musselman is ecstatic to have fans in. Nevada's a team that does play defense as well. They went on a 21-0 run in their scrimmage game last week, and it has blowout for me. This will be actually one of my plays today. It's not my top play, which is the $2 at WagerTalk, but this game will be on my board as an actual client play, Nevada minus the 20.
Ralph Michaels, I'm glad you mentioned the $2 Tuesday. You are the $2 Tuesday handicapper at WagerTalk. College hoops play, everybody. Take advantage of that. And Ralph, really great game to talk about next. Kansas minus 4.5 against Michigan State. Nice way to open the season. How are you handicapping this game?
Well, you look at Kansas and they're a team, you say, oh, you lost your point guard. Well, what did the transfer portal do for them? You bring in Remy Martin from Arizona State, one of the top point guards in the Pac-12. He steps in now and gives you a legitimate person to run the floor. There's a little bit of concern. Remy Martin did not start the scrimmage game because he was disciplined for a lack of practice ethic. That's not the kind of point guard you want. I'm going to give him a little bit of a ride on this. He is going to start tonight. But, you want to come in and work your ass off when you're leading a team and being a point guard. We'll see how that pans out. But they're another team. Yafusi from Drake, you get another transfer in. Michigan State, to me, is a team that comes in overrated. We know they're one of the best March Madness teams. We know they have an incredible head coach. But that head coach who teaches defense and thrives on defense, it takes a while for those guards to learn how to play D'Antonio style. D'Antonio. Now I'm talking football. To play it. Yeah, Prez, you're talking about 18 sports handicapping. That's exactly it right there. Yeah. But Michigan State is a team that's a bit overrated. They're playing a freshman and they're playing a transfer from Northeastern at guards. I give Kansas the edge in guard play. I give Kansas the edge on the front line. And I think this is a very reasonable line to back the Jayhawks. They are not going to be a play for me. This is a situation in Madison Square Garden where, again, the Remy Martin news is enough to toss me a little bit, but a clear lean on the show for those that are going to watch the game tonight on ESPN. I do have a clear lean on the Kansas Jayhawks.
So, Ralph, I want to ask you, do you tend to get involved more with the marquee matchups like the Kansas against Michigan State, or are you looking for your value early in the season with a lot of the smaller schools and the non-marquee programs? Which games are you more likely to get involved with and why?
Teddy, fabulous question. And the answer is clearly non-marquee games. Why? It's very simple. I just mentioned it. With the transfer portal the way it is, the number of returning starters are irrelevant. You have no real gauge to know how good these teams are going to mesh when you get teams in. I am much more comfortable betting against a team that has 1 returning starter, no transfers, has 8 freshmen, or a team that returns 5 starters from a mid-major with no major transfers, and I know what I can expect out of those. So there is a lot of variance early. How good is Duke going to be with their recruiting class? How good is Memphis going to be with 2 of the top signees? You have Michigan in a situation as well. They bring in the conference player of the year from Coastal Carolina to now run their program. You add in one of the top recruiting classes. Yes, they're a top 2 team, but can they learn to mesh and play offense and defense early? One situation I will mention too, just to keep an eye on, I may get to the Indiana Hoosiers tonight, even though they have a new head coach who has little college experience and comes from the NBA. But I am a tremendous fan of teams when they take out-of-country trips. They went to the Bahamas this summer. Each team's allowed to go out of country once every 4 years for these type of training exercises. I've tracked those teams. COVID shut that down last year. Indiana, one of the teams that was able to do that, get those extra practices and those extra scrimmages. I always have a check mark next to those teams.
Ralph Michaels joining us. Ralph, thanks for your time today, dude. I know you're regularly on Thursdays. You will be on again this Thursday. Best of luck with your $2 Tuesday pick. Outstanding work. Hope the college basketball season's incredible for you. One last thing, everybody. Jessica asked, when is the College Hoops show starting? It starts today, 1:45 p.m. Eastern. Ralph, I am assuming you're going to be all over that show.
I'm going to be on a couple times a week. Dave's on a couple times a week. Today it is going to be Dave Koken, Joe Ranieri, and myself. So 1:30, 1:45. We have a great lineup. We're working out the schedule, who's going to be on what show. I'm going to be on at least 2 days a week. Looking forward to it. And guys, by 3 p.m. Eastern, head to my homepage and download that Wager Talk. And I've got to go because you guys got the awesome Dave Sharapan on next. Dave, pen me on the way out, would you? Thanks.
The awesome Dave Sharapan joining us. Dave, when did you become the awesome?
You didn't get the memo? How do you not know this?
No.
Ralph is on.
No, I missed it.
I didn't know Ralph was going to be on, but when you find these things out, Prez, you just kind of adapt. That's what you do in the book. That's what the guys do. So I saw that Ralph was on, and I had to go get a pen immediately. You got to pay attention. Listen, I know you've been off, and I know you were playing cards and all that other stuff. I don't want any drama today, please. It's great to see you back. No drama. Literally, it's college basketball season. Let the boys handle that. I ain't here to talk college basketball. What do you got? Good to see you.
Dude, I see that hat, and I think Eason, Harbaugh. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I saw this hat.
Eason? Was there an Eason?
I'm even impressed you got one of the names right. I would have made you a dog to come up with a guy who wore this. Steve Grogan, Tony Eason, John Hanna, Hall of Fame linebacker, Hall of Fame offensive linebacker.
And Harbaugh.
No.
Which Harbaugh?
No,
played for the Colts and the Bears.
Yeah, Colts. Okay, bugger off, man. I'm old. It was 30 freaking years ago. Dave, it was awesome seeing you in Vegas, man. What a great night we had.
Made my trip. I mean, we had a great night. Someone here, someone didn't have a great night that night.
No,
seeing each other, not great,
guys.
No.
And on that note, there's a message here. There's a moral to the story, and that is, if ever at an all-you-can-eat sushi place, don't order the oysters. I mean, seriously.
We didn't order them. They just brought stuff, and it wasn't oysters. Apparently, it was mussels. Dave,
hey,
let's talk
it's like when you're sitting at the table and they offer you the insurance. Don't take it. Like there's something when they just bring you the stuff in the casino or at the sushi place, say, you know what? I'm good with that. Thank you. I'm ordering off the menu. Don't take the stuff they just bring you. Just saying.
Exactly.
It was good on the way down. It was. Dave, I saw you yesterday doing a little piece, and it was a little piece about correlated parlay.
Yes.
And I thought it was an interesting discussion, which you did it on a different show, but I wanted to talk about it on this show because I thought you didn't get a chance to talk about it in depth. It wasn't the right venue. Talk about correlated parlays for a minute. Number one, do they exist? Number 2, are the books afraid of them? Number 3, how do the books react to them? Number 4, how do bettors take advantage of them? And the most basic correlated parlay tends to be favorite parlayed with the over / underdog parlayed with the under. Is that still the case? Do books restrict those parlays? Talk a little bit about correlation when it comes to parlay betting.
So, despite the fact that you promised me we wouldn't talk about it, I will talk about it today.
What do you mean? I said that the whole show was about correlated parlays the whole time. All we're doing is talking correlated parlays.
Listen, I just want to make sure you're listening to the show. We're fine. Correlated parlays. All right. So basically, it's this: when you take a favorite in a smaller total game, like last night, Pittsburgh Steelers, Chicago Bears. The line is 7. The total's 39.5 or 40. If the Steelers cover, it's likely to go over. If the Bears cover, it's likely to go under. So dog it under, favorite and over. It's really used by old school baseball guys all the time. You see it in hockey a lot, dog and under, when there's only 5 goals, 5.5 is a total, 6 goals. When it's a smaller total, it's even more important, like taking a goal and a half in a hockey game. So, are books afraid of it? Books aren't afraid of anything anymore. You see what's going on in this business. They're taking bets all over the place, yet, and they're losing money by the billions with a B. And yet, wise guys get restricted. It's annoying. It's, I miss so much about the business aspect of it, but I don't miss that. Telling a guy he can only have 200 on a prop, but we're going to spend $8 billion on advertising. Makes no sense to me. So are books afraid of them? They used to be. In the risk room, we used to restrict parlays, correlated parlays. The total had to be 3 times the spread in football. So if you had a total, a 21-point spread and the total was only 52, couldn't do favorite and over. You couldn't parlay the game side to total. You could parlay each individual thing with anything else, but you couldn't do it. So, look at Alabama this week. How is Alabama playing New Mexico State? 1, that's a crime. There's no way that should even happen. But 51 is the spread, 67 is the total. Can't parlay those. If you can parlay those in a book, you should probably take a shot and try. Because if Bama covers, is it the game going to go over? You got a 16-point window where it doesn't happen. So you're getting 2.5 to 1 or whatever a 2-game parlay pays, on a straight bet. Same thing with the dog and under. So that's a correlated parlay. Agree, disagree, please add something to it. My voice is terrible this week.
Yeah, you're yelling too much at your kids' games. You can't be doing that.
Out of control up in Utah.
Quietly.
No.
All that
said, I don't do anything quiet.
You said there was that the standard industry rule was if the side was 3 times or less than the total, that they wouldn't take a same game parlay on that. The books still do that? Is that can you still get down side and total? I know you can on an Alabama New Mexico State game where the point spread is more than half of the total. But is that 3 times rule still in effect, or 2.5 times rule is still in effect, or is that a book by book scenario?
Book by book scenario, but I think it rarely happens in the NFL. You saw it maybe this past week, like with Buffalo and the total in that game. It was such a high spread, but such a low total. So I think it was 15 and 45. So I think you were good. I don't think books, there's people watching the show all over the world. So I don't think a lot of books are even aware of it, let alone afraid of it. They're encouraging same game parlays. They're allowing you to bet props in parlays now, same game prop parlays, where they're correlated. I don't even know if the guys managing the risk know what a correlated parlay is. I don't know if anybody's managing the risk. It's all automated stuff anyway. So I think you can get away with, I think you can push the envelope right now as far as betting those things more so than you could in Vegas. There's Vegas. There's still people watching stuff. There's still people managing the risk. I don't know if it's happening in these other books, Teddy. So no, I don't think that. I think you can actually do it. You should try it with the Bama New Mexico State one, because if you can do it with that one, you can do it with anything.
We're talking here. We're talking here, of course, with Dave Sharapan at SportsBKConsig on Twitter, short for Sportsbook Consigliere, and of course, Dave, a veteran of the bookmaking world, and now he's becoming a media celebrity in our midst. We had you on a couple weeks ago, and the bookmakers were crying. Oh, we got killed this week. Oh, we got killed 2 weeks in a row. The reports out of Sunday and last night's NFL action was this was the best book in the history. This is the best week in the history of bookmaking for the NFL. Is that true? I mean, I know the wise guys lost. I know the public lost. But was it literally one of those weekends for record-breaking wins for the books? What have you heard from your contacts about this past weekend in the NFL?
It was a monster. It was an absolute monster. Went 9 dogs on Sunday, and then the Bears last night. The Tennessee Sunday night, if there was anything left, it got wiped out Sunday night with Tennessee winning outright against the Rams. You hear the books crying about the teasers all the time and, blah, blah, blah. There wasn't a teaser that won. There was no teasers that won. The money line parlays, try to find a money line parlay with 3 favorites that won, because they had New England, maybe, but the steam side was Carolina. But Buffalo took them out. If Buffalo didn't get them, Dallas got them. Oh, yeah, if Dallas didn't get them, all that steam on San Francisco, that got them. And if that didn't get them, then Tennessee did Sunday night. So, yeah, it's so funny because we talked about it last week when we see each other. We're all in this business. Hey, how you doing? Who do you need? What do you got? Like, that's the thing. And when you get the text, how was the weekend? Good. That's it. Good. It was really good. There's no other explanation necessary. So it was great, not good. And I think it's funny because who gives the sympathy to the public? Like, because the public got beat up on Sunday. This past week was a monster. Yeah. But like 2 weeks ago, the books use all this like, we got killed. I'm going to go have a drink. I don't know what to do. Where does the public go? I mean, other than to the sushi place. You don't want to go to the sushi place and listen to Prez. Don't order the oysters.
Yeah, don't, Teddy. It was very impressive, though, sitting at the bar, Teddy. I'm not going to get into the details.
Let's not regale it again. The story's been
unbelievably impressive work. I mean, flat out. I mean, Dave and I were like, wow, that is
He told the story.
Organized.
He told the story on this show. It was unbelievable. And then him retelling the story was as good as him doing it, as him doing the deed in the cup.
Yeah. Dave Sharapan, Dave, we're running out of time. Let's group everything all in one. Yes. We haven't spoken college football, NBA, college hoop starts today, or NHL. Anything jump out at you in regards to any of those sports?
Yeah, I took a couple notes. I took a couple notes in preparation for Prez being on the show and the open-ended question that I love so much because I don't want any drama and I know I'm on the clock. I don't have the presidential address thing ticking in the corner. So here we go. College football first. Pitt, North Carolina, over. It was played early, went down a little. It's going back up. That's a Thursday night game. There's a high-scoring game. There you go. And the other one, Michigan, Penn State, nothing personal, Teddy, but Penn State's going to kick Michigan's ass on Saturday. The line already steamed. It opened up Michigan favored. Some sharp guys have played Penn State. They're going to win. The Big Ten can't help itself. It's going to be Ohio State and Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship. I've been saying it for weeks. It's going to be that way. So saith. That's it. NBA, Portland, Clippers tonight. You can lay it with the Clippers -3 and go over the total. The over's coming. They're steaming it up. It was overnight. Was the wrong number. Now it's coming back up. Over 221. Philly feels like too many points. Nobody gives them a shot against Milwaukee without Embiid for the COVID. That's the NBA. Let's go to the NHL. I got Oh, the LA Kings continue to be a dog. They played last night. You get them on a back-to-back. They beat Toronto last night. Prez, I don't know what's going on with your Maple Leafs. I have no idea what they're doing. They're favored too much in the market.
They've won 5 of their last 6.
I know, but the price is getting
against Tampa
out of
Bay
control.
and against Boston. Come on, Dave. You're not an amateur child here. 5 of their last 6, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, they're still not good. They're not going to win the cup. Vegas is a mess. Vegas is a mess. This line was played Seattle Kraken tonight. Release the Kraken, play the Kraken. The wise guys already did. The numbers coming down. That might end up, I can't believe it, an expansion team favored in Vegas. You would have never thought it, but it's happening really fast. Things are unraveling very quickly in Vegas. They traded for Eichel. They traded for a guy that's not going to play maybe for 4 months, and he's having exploratory some kind of surgery. I don't know what's going on down at that building, but that's one to play. And then NFL. I wore the hat because I like the emblem, but man, oh man, what's going on? Cleveland, New England, Sunday. First number that popped was 3. They played it down. Just came out. Nick Chubb probably maybe out for COVID. Nick Chubb's one of the best running backs in the NFL. I think New England wins the game. I think New England covers the spread, and it's a game to keep an eye on all week. If you like New England, you better lay it because the number's on the move. Whew, no drama. I'm done.
Okay, well, I got to respond to some of that nonsense. Oh, my God, surprise. Seattle's a favorite in Vegas. Oh, my God. Missing Eichel, Stone, Pacioretty, Carlson. Go figure, huh? Eichel's not getting some, what was the word you used? Exploratory surgery. Many athletes have had that. Many athletes have had that surgery, including Peyton Manning and an MMA fighter. And he'll be back. He'll be fine. I think that was an outstanding trade. As for the LA Kings, terrible spot to bet them tonight. As for the Leafs, they've won 5 of their last 6. So bugger off. Dave Sharapan, everybody. Put me in the daily presidential address, please. Welcome, guys. If you're watching this on Twitter, I cannot promise we're going to be doing this every day. I'm going back to the 100 likes. I don't know what's going on at WagerTalk today. 352 people watching this show live while I'm speaking right now. Only 58 likes. That is not good enough. We are a team. We do this together. Hit that like button for us, please. Also, a shout out to the guys doing the College Hoops show. Starts at 1:45 p.m. Eastern. Today's show hosted by Joe Ranieri, featuring Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels. As for your bets tonight, well, let's start with the Montreal Canadiens. I would take them in regulation, guys. A big plus 120, 125. I know they suck. I know they've barely won a game this year. But the LA Kings are in a terrible, terrible spot from my perspective. It's back-to-back. They had a great performance last night against the Leafs. They will lose tonight. Take Montreal in regulation plus money. Teddy and Dave, you can act like idiots till you're blue in the face. You ain't bothering me. Edmonton and Detroit over the total tonight. 6.5 goals. Edmonton could put up 5 themselves. They have almost every single game already. And take the Jets tonight minus a very short number. I know they have a lot of injuries, but it is a good spot for the Jets tonight. I have one NHL play up for my clients. I won mine last night. I also went 2-0 in NHL on the show in the spot yesterday. That's it for me. I'm having a veal sandwich with cheese. Teddy, take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of Wager Talk Today. I want to thank all of our guests, including Dave Sharapan, who's making fun with me on the side. and John Ryan and Ralph Michaels. Be sure to check out the $2 Tuesday. Enjoy college hoops tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Why pay regular price when you can save money on every purchase with WagerBucks at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo? WagerBucks are now eligible for use on not just daily, 3-day, and 7-day passes, but all long-term and seasonal packages up to 1 full year. There are tons of options available for every budget and size of better, from as low as $90 gets $100, all the way up to $3,500 gets you $5,000. Save every day on every pick you buy with WagerBucks.